it's probably a good idea to mention the Rehoming feature. Quickly, what we can do is just select certain strands, and or we could select the whole head if you want, and we can do comb recomb. And what that does, basically combs the hair along the emitter surface in the direction the hair is already going. So it's kind of useful in cases where you've got you've done some manual styling with the hairs, and you just want to recontour it along the surface and not change the real direction of it. So that's somewhat handy. Okay, so more or less we're ready to move on with the hairstyling. So what I'm going to do is just select all the hairs and comb them on the negative y-axis. So we'll just comb everything down there. And once we have that, what I can do is selectively go to the side view. And a lot of styling hair is actually about selecting the hairs and moving them in the right direction. Because you've got something that's very organic and you have all these hairs that go off at weird angles, that's actually the real trick with styling hair, is just selecting the right components and moving them in the direction you want. So what I'm going to do is actually, we're going to selectively take these hairs and we want to scale them out a little bit like that. Just get it a little bit longer. The hairs in the front too, I'm going to select those and scale those out a little bit just to get them out even. These guys here are a little bit long, so we're going to select those, scale it down a little bit. These guys here, scale those down. Okay, now at this point we can just tag the tips. So I can use the apostrophe to go into tag selection mode and just select the tips. And then what we can do is just translate those back off the head. So just move them up like that. And there we go. So once we have those hairs off the head like that, what we can do is go in the front view and let's select the strands on this side in kind of a group. And depending on what selection mode you're in, it'll affect the way the styling tool actually works. So if I select these hairs, say in tip mode, and then we want to do a clump, and what clump does, it basically brings the hairs together. So I'm going to middle mouse click and just drag and bring them all together. It's a bit slow, so I'll just turn off the render hairs here so we get quicker performance. So you can see it brings them together to a point. Now if I select them same hairs in strand mode and do a clump, you'll see we get a different effect. We're actually clumping the strand along its length. So that's something to keep in mind when you're styling the hair. So let's just clump them together kind of like that. And then with them clumped, what we want to be able to do is just go to the front view and we're going to translate them around. So the thing with hair to remember is basically you're dealing with a bidirectional IK chain. So if I zoom in and we actually go onto one of the hair strands, you can see you've got this sort of 12 segment IK chain, and it's bidirectional. So you can actually see the IK there solving forwards and backwards. And that's basically what you're getting with hair, is fast bidirectional IK. So because of that, when you're actually working with hair, you want to make sure when you're managing stuff that like you're trying to get a really organic and natural look, you actually have to like style the hair using kind of gestures. So you can see if I just move the hair over here, we'll get a certain look. If I whip it around really fast, you know, we can get a tight twirl. Whereas if I did that really slowly, it's sort of a different effect. So the idea is to kind of get the whole hair moving, and then you can just set like a curl over there. So again, it's something that you kind of have to practice a little bit, but once you get in the groove of it, it's pretty simple. So we just clump them together. Let's grab the tips and let's translate the tips. So again, we can give it a couple swirls to get a nice pattern to it. And just bring it over like that, over to the side. Let's grab these guys in tip mode, clump it together, and then do the same thing. Let's pull it over to the side there. So what we want to do is go selectively through the hair and start grabbing tips and clumping them, or grabbing strands actually seems to be working better. Clump these together. Now grab those tips. And what you'll notice is you're getting some nice kind of curves here off the head, but a lot of times you'll have the hairs actually lying flat against the head or intersecting. So what you want to do periodically is just select your hair, and you can go puff roots. And what that does is it just lifts the hair off the head, you know, and actually makes it more perpendicular to the actual hair surface. So you get kind of more of a bouncy look there. So we're just going to quickly go through different parts of the hair and clump them together and get the overall hairstyle working. So we'll do a few other areas here. Let's clump that together. Tip selection mode. It takes a bit of practice to get the nice curves that you want, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty simple. Something we probably want to do at this time is sculpt the back so it's in a bit more. So let's take these tips here and go in the right view. We'll just bring those in a little bit tighter. Actually, what we could do is select these guys in strand and just actually do a comb down. So comb in -Y to get it going along the head. And you can see because the surface here, it's still following the emitter angle, these hairs are still popping out a bit. So it's just a matter of taking those specific hairs, perhaps clumping them together to bring them together, and then taking that clump and just dragging it down so it rests along the head a little more. We can just take these guys here. There we go. Something like that. We have hairs down here that are a little bit low, so let's just select these guys. Actually, let's just get these guys there, and we're just going to scale them up a little bit. Something like that. Okay, there we go. We're getting there slowly but surely. Next thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that we can use a lot of the deformation tools when you're styling hair.